faculty friends to the Research Awareness Program, Module 3. I heartily welcome today's speaker, Dr. Selva Kumar, and it is my privilege to introduce Dr. Selva Kumar to the gathering here. Dr. Kumar is working as assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry, MIT Mahe. He has more than 2 decades of working experience in various fields such as teaching and research area and industries. He is also a successful guide. He has guided 3 students and 5 students are working under him. And he has also guided more than 40 like PG projects. Dr. Kumar's area of research involves energy storage material for super capacitor and flexible electronics for humidity sensor. And his area of specialization involves physical chemistry, inorganic chemistry, material chemistry. And Dr. Kumar has more than 67 articles published and 2 books written. He also filed 2 patents in his name. And he is also a successful grant holder from different agencies. He has also won Best Researcher Award in MIT 2013, Best Oral Presentation and Poster Award in various conferences, Best UG Supervisor Award from IIC Bangalore in 2021. So with this brief introduction of our today's speaker, now I hand over the session to Dr. Selva Kumar M. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Praveen. I'll turn off my video and I'll slightly start my presentations. Directly, I'll start my presentations.
Sure,
yeah,
sir, sure.
Fine. So my slide is visible, right?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So today what I plan to talk is research and teaching inseparable components in higher educations. Because as per my experience, when I talk with many people in the MITs, in KMC or MAGE, wherever it may be, many people used to tell publication is not my cup of tea, and I'm very good in teaching. And some people may used to tell I'm a good researcher and I may not able to a good teacher. So that I want to avoid that gap. What is the difference between the teaching and the research? So that I want to deliver in this talk. How we can, so you can't separate research and teaching. It is simultaneously the growing, it has to be taken place. So that I'm going to explain today talk. Of course, some of the point you might be new that because everyone might be new that at this level, everyone might knew that how to do the research. In addition to that, I'm going to give some extra points, right? This is what my content. So the first, if you see the content means ranking, why ranking its importance, and particularly why they are concentrating more importance in the research. And what is the barrier in research? Why many people are not struggling, right? Even if you take it into considerations, very good universities also might be 6 to 10% maybe concentrate on a good amount of research. What is it? And patience for life. That is very, very important. And importance of literatures. Literatures, how it is helpful, right? Not only helping for do the good research, and of course it might be helpful for to take a nice class and you can deliver the class very efficiently. So the importance of literature, expectation as a supervisor, right? Many of them you might be completed the PhD, or many of them you might be pursuing the PhD. As the supervisor, if you become a supervisor or your supervisor, what he might be going to expect from you, that I'm going to talk. And how to take a new research work, right? This is many of the people used to ask me. Right? If you see that my profile, the first student and the second student, there will be no contact. Both the students may, or the 8 students, they might be doing a different field. If some students they join part-time means for helping them, I might be give a same work, but that work also it's totally different from the first students. That means always I'm concentrating on a new field, but my idea of the talk is my idea of the research work is renewable energy. That I'm not going to change, right? But I'm keep on going to give a new work only. That means how I am taking a new research work, and of course I have to explain what I did the last 14 years in MIT. So that experience might helpful to take a new work, and in fact you might be confident in your research work also. Okay, now we are not in the position to write the manuscript. Now, in fact, Mage also looking way to start up, right? How you are going to convert it to your new products, right? From your research work, how you are going to go for the startup work. And one of my student presentation, it was so impressed. The presentations was only 3 minutes, right? It was very professional presentations that I'm going to share you. And of course, finally, question and answer. You're free to ask any questions, right? Please, at the end of you can note down whatever the questions is there. It is open to all, right? Whatever the questions you can ask. At the end of the presentations, you can ask. Because in between, if you ask what I want to tell, I might be forgot. And the talk, it might be go somewhere else. So to avoid that, I am requesting, right? Another 1 hour or 1.5 hours. After that, you can, whatever the questions you can ask, if I knew, I'll tell. Otherwise, I'll refer and tell. Okay. Ranking is very important, right? Because NRF ranking might be introduced last 5 years back, right? If you see that before introducing NRF ranking, how many colleges will be there in your field, and after NRF ranking, how many colleges are succeeded? If you see that means you may get a good amount of data, right? Many of the colleges, because due to quality and implementations, in fact, last time our VC also came to each and every college, he has addressed that ranking as an important parameter. So please try to do a good amount of the research work, because now the parents also try to see what is the ranking, and this college might be good or not, whether the child may go for higher studies. Everything it is matter. That means those who are good in research, of course, you might be asked why I'm a good teacher, right? Why I want to do a good amount of research. It is normally the problem is here. I'll convey it in bit after some 2 or 3 slides. I'll explain that why the peoples are differentiate the teaching and the research in a separate aspect. We'll address it. So that means we can't avoid the ranking. Ranking is an important parameter. So we have to compete with other institute, and our ranking has to improve. So we can't avoid that. And of course, government also bring a national education policy, and they have clearly told the practical and the theory should not be in a separate aspect. Now we are doing it like that. See, if I am take it my postgraduate studies, right, what I'm explaining the practicals, right, it will be separately I used to conduct, and the theory I'll go to college, classroom and separately. When the theory and the practical simultaneously, when you are explaining only, you might be get energized and engaged, and of course most understanding students. It is very, very difficult, right? Because present for our populations to bringing both the things together, it is very, very difficult because we need a good amount of resources. And of course, they are trying. So that's why they give given for Institute of Eminence for some 5 universities. So at least these 5 universities may come up for after 10 years, some good ranking in QS ranking. They are trying to help them. So that's why the ranking is one of the very, very important parameter. We can't able to avoid that. So quality universities and the colleges is required. And of course, optimum learning environments and support to students. This is what the require. That's why they are bringing NEP 2019. They are telling. So now if you see, that means course outcome will be there separately, right? And based on what we are discussing in the theory, we may write the course outcome. We can't able to go and test. We don't have an opportunity to go and test the students whether he has understand or not. That has to be avoided. Means how it can be possible. Theory and practical has to be take place together. Of course, it is very difficult. I to agree, because how it's possible, right? Right? If say for example, Newton third law means how I have to go and explain the law of conservation mass. So law of conservation mass means I have to take on reactions and I have to explain that. So it is quite difficult, right? So, but we want to try to achieve that. How it can be possible? That we have to address it. And of course, professional in your educations. It is not only for the MBBS or engineering or teaching. All the educations are professional oriented only, right? It is not particularly for only these educations. If you work professionally, your educations, your work, everything, it's a professional way only. So effective leadership. So if I am did like this, right, definitely your leadership quality also might be improved. There is no doubt at all, right? You might be a commendable positions and you might be able to take any kind of work in anywhere else, right? Not only here, or suppose if you get a good opportunity somewhere else. So your academic and teaching has to reflect in your face, and you might be a position to take a effective leadership. And of course, the final target, whatever it may be, what else, we have to get a good job opportunities, right? Even we can tell that education is important, we can have to need, but the final target in the end of the day, whether you are research scholar or whether you are postdoctoral fellow or you itself, you must have a position to take other job opportunities, whether you are getting or not, that it is required in a national education policy. Okay, now we will see, right, as per my experience, and of course I have interacted with many people, based on what they have shared the experience, I have prepared my contents in the presentations. Let us discuss one by one. So the first one is barrier in research. Just now I completed my PhD, right? I have so much fight with my guide, and my guide is not helped. Some 4 to 5 years I have struggled, right? Why I got to start immediately the PhD research work? I'll take some relaxations for 2 years, right? If you take a 2 years, remember that the 2 years will continue for 20 years, right? You may not come to the track at all. Remember that whatever you have faced experience, don't continue for your students. If you think this way itself, right, you might be a good guide, and because that whatever the problems they have faced, they might be did to you. You avoid that, just forgot it, how you are going to do a new work. How I am going to, suppose some two students, MSc students, or your postgraduate students, your doctorate students, if they join, how they are going to do a new work. That's what our goal, right? How I am going to assign the new work. That only I am going to think. So the remaining things, everything you can forget about it. Just you can work with your students. That only I am going to tell. And of course, next one is family commitments and recently married. So that is very important. Family commitments, it's right. See, as per that, 8 hours of work, it's sufficient. I'm not going to tell you have to work entirely in the lab from morning 8 to 12 o'clock, right? That is not required at all. If you come 9 to 5:30 without talking, and if you did your work, it is possible to do a good amount of work. Family is more important because we have faced a good amount of experience in the pandemic. So you got to concentrate because the final target is whatever your job perspectives, your money, everything, it is depends on how you are surrounding with your societies, your friends and family. So don't, because the idea of talk is in a year how to take a two publications as an independent researcher. If you are good in compared with your friends and other thing, you can take a 20 research publication also. Nothing wrong in that. But this idea of talk is I am going to explain how it's possible to take in a year two publications. Okay. That's what the third category is. Many people used to tell, writing manuscript is not my cup of tea. That I'll address in the next slide. And of course, I'm sound in RAB. I can't able to write the manuscript, right? Some people used to tell, right? I'm good in writing, but I can't able to do a bench work, right? Both are non-acceptable, right? See, as a researchers, if you come to the lab, you must able to positions do any kind of work, right? So that kind of motivations is always required. That we'll discuss in the next slide. And of course, too much administrative responsibilities, right? Enjoy it if so much work is coming, right? Nothing wrong in that, because each and every work we are going to learn the new experience only, right? If others they are not doing, they are dumping the workers, right? You try to get experience in each and every works. You add in your profile, and you can try to get for some other place. Nothing wrong in that. Every semester is getting a new subject, right? Particularly in the research, it is an opportunity, right? I am going to explain that how every semester getting a new subject, it is opportunities that we will discuss. So family commitments, already I have explained that, and don't have ambient facility in my institute. If you go there, any of the institute, particularly in our country center, of course, now they have developed the central instrumentation facilities in IIC. They are supporting all the characterizations. When I am doing my PhD work, nearly 2005 to 2008, and all, I got to struggle like anything. For each and every characterizations, I got to send a sample and I got to wait for 3 to 6 months. So in that case also, one of my contemporary fellow, he has detailed 300 NMR characterization. Used to send the sample to Central Drug Research Institute, Lucknow, and all the characterizations he used to do. And even my case also, so much amount of characteristics we have done. Nearly 20 to 25 papers I have published in my PhD work itself. Still another 2 papers under review, right? If you come to me, I'll show you still in my thesis another 2 papers under review. Okay, so, we'll continue in that. So now I have to address that the major important issues in the research, satisfactions in work, right? See, normally many of them, if you completed your PhDs, if you came to know that the first manuscript when you publish, how much happiness you might be get, that may not be reflect in forthcoming after 20 papers or 30 papers. But that is not the case. All the manuscripts, each and every manuscript, when it's accepted and it comes to the publications, you must have a position to explain each and every characteristics. That means you must have a good knowledge what is there in the paper, right? Each and everything I know that I discuss with my students. So like that, if you did, it is possible to work in a year to, suppose if you have the 4 to 5 students, it's possible to publish 10 papers. Suppose if you have the contact, you can publish more than 10 papers also. The next one is, there is no a good teachers and no a good research. All are good only, right? And no one is a born teacher and no one is a born researchers. Based on the experience what they have faced, right? So researchers, good researcher means he might have a very good skilled in the lab. Good teacher means he might have a good in communications, right? Communication skill, the way of explanations, eye to eye contact with the students, how you are approaching the students. Of course, you must have a strong sound in the subject. Then only it's possible to that, right? Both the cases, what it is required. Skilled, it's based on continuously doing work in the lab, right? The work in the lab, how it going to comes? You are going to do a strong literatures. Preparations of the class, how it going to comes, right? Again, you are going to refer with the different kind of textbooks, and what you are going to tell in the classroom, that has to comes in your papers, that you are going to explain it. So both the things are same only. Skilled also, it is a might be 1 or 2 years we might be struggle to deliver the lectures, right? In the end of 5 years or 10 years, 15 years, if you see that, you must be commendable positions. Like that 1 or 2 years, we may not know that how to hold the apparatus and other things. But later when it comes, based on your experience, you must be a position to do a good work in the lab. That means it's a parameters. You have to play that. How you suppose you are a good teacher. If you feel that I am lack of research means this beautiful slide, it might be helpful to how you become a good researcher or a good teacher. There are 4 parameters. Skilled, right? The skilled, how you can efficiently you can use in the lab, that you can get the results and try to write it in a proper way, the research and discussions. It might become a very good manuscript, right? So you are preparing the textbooks, whatever the notes and other things. You are going to communicate to the students, right? So the eye-to-eye contacts look like a storytelling, that might be helpful, your presentation skill, and of course your students might be very happy in that. So they might be listen each and everything. That means it is a just conversion parameter. That's what I told you. No one born with the carbon, right? No one, everything they have ran from here only. So, right, it is not no one is a born teacher or a born researchers. Everything they have ran based on what is the resources they have got it and what is the opportunity they have got it. That's all. That you try to grasp it as per your requirement. That's what it is, a inseparable components only. That, and in fact, I'm going to address based on what I'm going to explain further slides. Right. Suppose if you are very active, right, this slide is very, very important. Fascinating people will have the hunger for success. Life will taste good till there is passion in one's life, right? So always you got to like a Google search engines, right? Always you got to search new things. I'm not telling you about only in the research. You might be good in history or economic or geography or political science, whatever it may be, right? You have to search it based on your interest and taste. When you are searching a good amount of literature, so that we are going to discuss separately. When you are searching a new things only, right? Suppose you as per your interest, if you are good in lab, you can search a new kind of work. How I can do that? Because in the end of the day, I told only 8 hours to works, right? So morning 9 to 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So once you completed the work, if you go to enjoy with the family members, if you after that, once you went to the bed, you got to get a sleep immediately. That when it's possible, the search, the way of how you are approaching in your work, right? So that you, in the end of the day, you have to get a tiredness by your own, the way of working, what you are doing in the working place. So that means present itself life. So you have to search new things. It is based on your interest. That time I am giving to you only. You can search and you can try to do that. Right. This one, once again, yeah, full professional. Full professional means what do you mean by that? So any field, when other people will listen you means, if you become a professional only, other people will come, right? It might be a hotel business or say it might be any kind of job. The way of how you are going to work only, it is matter. Here, already I justify, I hope I have taken to considerations. I justify that teaching and research is the same thing. So that means preparations has to be taken place. So you must have a command of what is happening in your subject so that you can evaluate the worth of what others are doing. Literature survey. Remember that when I am doing my PhD work, in fact, I started my research career 2002 itself. That time under chemical abstracts is there. Abstract is available in the library. We used to go to library and CSR Institute and we go to search the chemical abstract and we go to find out. Later that concept, it's once internet, it's become very familiar. Science Direct came. Now, of course, using SciHub, you can able to download almost all the articles, right? So that time we used to discuss. In fact, the way of discussions with my guide, right? You used to get a fear, right? And in fact, I remember that we have argued when a titrations was wrong. As per the fundamental point of view, the titrations was wrong. Right? Normally, our senior people can't able to accept the mistake because the problem is if you accept the students, they may not listen the further things. That quite happen. Even it may happen in my student also. If I am accept the mistake immediately, they won't accept. I don't know like that they matter. But actually we got to accept it. Right, he has argued like anything, but later he went and searched in the same books everything what we have discussed, and he went and searched it. When we did the literature survey only, we can came to know that he has went and searched what we discussed everything. So good amount of literature survey from A to Z it is required. And the second one is you must have the depth knowledge to discover where you can make a useful contributions. So that when it is possible, when your fundamental concept in the field, that will come one by one. What slide is not moving? Yeah. So literature survey, chemical abstract, and the last 15 years research and review articles. And very important thing is research articles you got to read, and review articles will helpful to understand the entire subject. In fact, last 15 years, last nearly 18 years, what I did, what I understand the supercapacitor, everything it is comes in the one review articles, right? So that articles also I have read out. That is, if I to understand that I have referred many good amount of the books. So like that, good experience will come, will give a review articles, particularly chemical society reviews and chemical reviews if you studied that. But always, if you want to take a new work, means you got to read a research articles only. Right? Review articles will helpful to understand the fundamentals only. And correction of articles based on your selected topics. And next one is selected the article based on author. Here, the only important condition is you got to see the author, whether the author is there for in this field last 10 years, because now due to huge competitions, they also try to do good amount of work in all other fields. Nothing wrong in that. Because why I am telling means, suppose if you want to understand the good subject in that, you have to see the when the authors might be started the careers, they might be did the fundamental everything they might be explained very nicely. So you have to see that whether the author is doing the work in the same field last 10 years or not. Like that, if you did only, you might be get a good literature survey. Right. And one more thing is, so everyone, I hope, including me, I'm going to call us, we are highly educated people, right? So we might have a predeterminations about our studies or about our articles or about our manuscript or about if you see the other persons also. But you got to avoid the predeterminations. The problem is if you see the magazines or anything else, if you see the contents, we can came to know that. So this is what happened like that. We won't read the body of the contents further. Just we read the headlines and we'll go that. But nowadays, the contents and inside the body, it's totally different. Many of the cases, right? If you read continuously magazines and newspaper, you can came to know that. So you got to give. Suppose if you, it is not all the news I am telling. If you are interested in a one particular news, please read it thoroughly. You don't skip it. Then only it's possible to understand that what it is happening, because what they are going to convey that you got to understand that. For example, science and technology. And the Sunday Hindu magazines, if you see the Times of India, good amount of literature collection is coming. Of course, we can't able to read. I'm telling, based on your interest, you can take on any one particular fields and you can try to search it. That it might be helpful there to search for the new work. And manuscript, To find a new work, read a research article in a very good journals. See, suppose I want to take one good research work means I got to take it from where, right? I got to refer from next slides. Yeah, this case and yeah, comparison table. Once again, I'll come back. Chemical abstract. Okay, so if suppose that slide it might comes after few 5 slides, I'll explain that how to take a new work. So manuscript to find a new work, read a research article in a very good journal. So very good journal means how to understand that, right? If we are able to see, say for example, if you read a Nature or a Science and a Chemical Society reviews or a Joule or whatever the very high impact factors, always they have the hope to start a new work. Suppose if you are reading from 2 to 3, 5 impact factor, those people might taken the work from them. So if you read the work from 2 to 3 impact factor, well, you can able to publish, right? You might be there in a less than that. So that's why I'm telling all the journals are good only. Please remember that. I'm not telling that good journal and bad journal. That is not my motto. All the journals are good journal only. Even Q4 also, I'm publishing, right? It is not a bad journals, right? There, that work we can able to communicate there only. Okay, that's all. So, but if you want to take a new work, means you have to read there only, right? Advanced material or advanced functional materials. Then that means you have to need a good amount of times. And next, one more important thing is manuscript or book read together by student and guide. But normally it won't going to happen here. See, the way of understanding, then only your student, you can understand what is the understanding ability of the student. And of course, your student also may understand that how much fastly you are helping him. But we don't have time. Normally you used to tell, but you got to spend some time. Manuscript or read or book read together by student and guide. At least manuscript, right? Later we can come to the book because book it might takes a minimum 1 year or 6 months it's required to understand to read together the books. So then only because if you read like that only each and every fundamental what you have understand it will go to your student and student become a very good confident in your field. I am doing like that one in my work. If you see that the first 6 months, first 8 months, I spend good amount of time with the students, right? But later that once the objectives and the university proposal presentation is over, the students will come to the DAC report, and in every DAC report, I'll try to communicate at least in my first student, if you see that means he has able to publish 3 paper in a 1 DAC report. 3 DAC only we have given, 10 paper he has published, right? Now also the same thing, but now 3 paper it's very difficult. So I have reduced, at least if you come to DAC means come with 1 paper. In between, they won't, after 8 months, they won't come and disturb. They should be a strong, commandable positions in the particular field. They will write, they itself will come and write the review articles and I'll correct it. And as per my discussions only, it will goes on. Okay. Right. Fundamental concept in the field. So we are talking higher education, higher education. So that means primary and school educations are not important. It is compared to the higher education, primary and school educations are most important because where your fundamental and concept it comes from, right? Your guide may not be explained that, your school teacher, your parents might be explained that. So if you are good in fundamental concept, you are fortunate to get a very good teacher in school times. You imagine that, right? As frankly, if I am tell means in the end of the presentations, I'm going to give my mentors, right? I kept my 12th standard teacher only because my 12th standard teacher was very impressive and he was very strict. And he used to, when he comes to the lab, he used to tell how to take a burette and pipette. Remember that 5 hours he has taken the class. Still, I have the good experience to talk with him. If I have doubt, I directly and call and I ask him, or I'll go to him house and I ask him. So that motto only, I have good confidence to talk with you. So like that, definitely you might have each and every peoples. So that only it might helpful to come to higher educations, right? Education means it's important only. It is not more or less. But for differentiate, I put more and most. Please forgive me. And availability in our lab. Okay, that's what we had to discuss as per. Yeah, availability in our lab we had to discuss. This is very, very important. Uh, yeah, because you are projecting a good amount of objectives. Of course, now you have the opportunity, you go and work in anywhere else, even throughout the world, you can go and work. It doesn't matter. But always we have to find out what is there in nearby that. Because all the students may not have a good amount of economic, they can't able to travel and they can't, particularly if girls are joined means, still there we are getting good amount of girls, children only for PhD. So we can't tell them you can go and do work somewhere else. They can't, even parents might be for fear and that. That means you have to see that based on the student skill and based on whether the student is able to do this work means you can project any kind of objectives. And one more important things, every 15 days, right? As a mentor, you go to work with your student, but these things under it is not possible. I to agree that, right? But your skill has to transfer to your student, right? Then only your students might know that how much skill you have, right? Of course, there are two possibilities there. I have tried with one good student. The student told, sir, don't come with me. I'll do my work. Then I came out because the student struggled to fabricate that. I told I'll fabricate and give, but no, sir, I'll fabricate and I'll give. Like that only she did, unless he succeeded also. Nothing wrong in that because independent also it's very important that we'll discuss later. And if you have opportunities and the students are liking with work with you, right? At least you can work with one lab postgraduate lawyer, with a research scholar, with your students. They might be have a position to understand that how much command, how much you subject commandable you must have in that. So that then only your skill it will go to students and student might be a feel that okay we can do still good amount of work. Right. Okay, we did a literature survey and availability of lab and you are good strong in fundamentals. And next one is we did a good amount of lab work also. So we got all the results. So that means that results, how I am going to write it in the manuscript form. Everyone has to ask, right? It is very simple as as much as possible. You suppose if you take a one XR day or SEM, right? You can take up the picture below the picture. What did you observe as per the literature? You can write it. Then compare your literatures with compare your results with previous literature. How it has deviated. Suppose if it is deviated, what is the reason behind that? Try to find out, give a comparison table. If it is a deviate, if it's possible to explain one mechanisms, give a proof of mechanisms with the support of literatures. And open remarks for others to do new work. Always it should be, see, I will be mine when I'm doing the work, right? You can't able to get any kind of work what I'm doing. But when the students come to the presentations or when I am come to the presentations, my presentations, it's open to all and everyone has to ask. At least they got to learn from the presentations. Because presentations, that's what my teacher told. When you come to the blackboard, whatever you know, each and everything has to explain properly to the students. The same way only open remarks for others to do a new work. You try to explain that. If it is wrong, if they are not liking, nothing wrong that, you can explain that. Right. You must able to communicate your results effectively in the professional area. I hope Now you must able to write on manuscript, you might be able to communicate it, right? Still the paper, it's remember that when we are writing, we don't have a Grammarly software, we don't have a Latin software. That means not like that whatever things we have written, it's acceptable. There are also good amount of rejection is there. In fact, my first student paper got rejected 6 times in the same channel. 6 time revision came, 7th time only it got accepted, right? So later, using that experience, we can able to, thereafter we got experience to publish another 9 articles, right? Whenever the rejections and failure it comes, don't worry, you have the chance to learn the new things, right? Where the problem is, try to find out and you can rectify that. And all this must be carried out in an international context. That is very, very important. Your research has to be supported by international context or national context, those who are doing same type of work in India or abroad, right? And whatever you are doing the work, it has to be published and it has to be, right, reviewed by proper people. Then only you can came to know that whether we are doing good work or not. If someone it's not commending your work, right? Don't be happy with the paper. It's when the first time itself it get and accepted means don't be happy that if it comes 10 times revisions also or a good amount of, in fact, I'll tell you, 2021 we have sent one paper in one journal, right? Some 5 reviewers reviewed the paper, they rejected, and I have 4 reviewers got accepted, one reviewer given nice feedback, and the editor got rejected. I have sent a letter to editor. So 4 reviewers got accepted, one reviewer got rejected. Why can't you consider for this aspect? I have waited for 6 months. My 6 month because yearly I got to publish a 2 manuscript. Like that, if it is happened means what I will do, I have written the mail to editor. Then editor told, okay, we will revise that. You revise and send. We will go for the again to send. Again the paper went 8 reviewers. 7 reviewers got accepted and one reviewer got rejected. Right? I told nothing can do. The editor told, okay. Then the same paper we have sent to some other journal, it got accepted and published. That is quite natural, right? If you the work they may find out, right? Always when we are seeing others, they may find out what is a mistake in that, right? They may not say good things. It is quite happen. If it is happened, no problem, nothing is wrong in that. We'll try to find out some other place and read other manuscript or other theses in your field and evaluate them for the degree of originality in the research which has satisfied the examiners. Right? It is very, very important. So you must able position to read your competitor manuscript. Then only competitive manuscript, competitor means in the field I'm telling, in the subject I'm telling, right? In the same field, renewable energy mean in the renewable energy, you wonder competitor, how they are writing, what they are telling, you got to understand that. And provide the determinations and applications that are required to complete the work and obtain the degree, right? Use the completions process to which a research councils yeah, that is fine. The tension between the boundaries of the research project and the time available to complete it should be continually reviewed and adjusted by the student and the supervisor. This is very, very important. Always you go to every 1 month or 3 months or 6 months. Of course, in the PhD time, no problem. Every 6 months you have to give a report. Right after completing the PhD, you don't have a scope. You have unless the first student joining, we don't have a person to do that. So that means you have to do your research work properly. So continuously you have to do a review. And of course, the process, research project progress, initially we may be enthusiasm, right? So we are doing good amount of research work. It's a look like a new, so we got a high impact factor journal, it got accepted. Everything it will be there. And of course, some people are quite able to see that they might be isolated, right? And that we are doing good amount of work. These people are doing, it is not all the works are good work only, right? and they become isolated. And the isolations in enthusiastic way to increasing the interest in work, it has to be taken place. It is not for where I am doing a good work, so I can't mingle with others. It is not like that, right? So transfer of dependence from the supervisor to the work. So always come become a independent. Supervisors to expect the students to be independent and expect the students the producer written work is not a first draft. You itself, after writing that, you itself read and go through that what is happening and that each and everything you have to write where the mistake is there, whether it's correct or not, everything you have to check. And supervisor accept a regular meeting with the research student. At least in a weekly once you got to meet what is happening and what you did, everything you got to convey that, right? So of course, that means cultivate the lifetime reading habit. If want to sustainable in the field teaching and research means we got to do cultivate the lifetime a reading habit. Then only you must be a strong command in your field. Of course, phones, social media, script, decline in reading habit, and a good amount of YouTube videos are coming. And in fact, I surprised to see that I'm reading the articles and I try to understand that the same content in the YouTube video before 2 days itself they are releasing, right? But remember that the reading only might helpful. The seeing the videos, right? It's like look like a movie seeing and you might be forgot about it. The reading it has to be think and it will be always in the memorize in your mind. It might be helpful, right? So all the information it is I to accept that, right? All the YouTube videos, everyone they are publishing good amount of YouTube videos, everything I to accept that. But the seeing it may not helpful, right? You may feel that yeah, I got all the informations, I am technologically sound, but in fact, using this habit only, in fact, number of pages in the Hindu paper or number of pages in the magazines, it got reduced because reading habit got reduced. It they can't able to sell the magazines and the newspaper also. And of course, everything it is available in telegrams and WhatsApp and all the social medias also. But I am not sure about it. How much time you can read in the smartphone and other things or gadgets. So always you have to take a hard copy and try to read it. And of course, everything if you did, it became a bore and the frustrations might come. What I am doing right throughout the day, I am reading and other things. This job has to be complete. This research work has to be complete. This PhD work, I want to submit my thesis and go. Right? Remember that continuously work like that, you will become a mad. Every 3 months, right? Always you could to go for you forgot about you throw out your all the reading habits and all the manuscript, everything you can throw out. You can go for retreat for 5 days with your friends and families, forgot about it. These things you don't remember at all. When you are coming to the 7th day to your office place, you see that how much energy you must have, right? So in fact, the Mage also they are giving every month third Saturday is holiday. You can make use of that. Just forget about it. All the things, all the worries. If the result is not coming, don't worry about it. Don't think that 5 days, that days for you, right? Because keep on, you might be a persons, you might be able to publish in a good manuscript. Who will recognize if you come to the outside the society, you go to mingle with the common people, right? You go to talk very nicely and you go to smile with them and you go to go very jovially. That time you can't feel that you are feeling great, I am a good scientist. Not like that, right? So that should be avoided, means this should be happen. Then only frustration, boredom, job has to be finished, everything will go off and you will do a good amount of work. Right? And deadlines are important. Of course, finally, we have to see publications, patterns, and a conference link contact. That is also very, very important, right? We might be a positions to write a good amount of, suppose I told you 8 reviewer got, in that 8 reviews, 7 reviewer got accepted. One reviewer give a same comment, it got rejected. Suppose if I might have a good contact, if I find out some good contact in outside, that paper might get accepted, right? So that under it quite it happens commonly. Don't worry about it. That also you can came to know that later. Yeah, this already I address. Be punctual. And next one is you supervisor expect the research students to be honest when reporting on the progress. This is very, very important, right? If the result is not coming, agree that the result is not coming. Nothing wrong in that. Okay, we'll leave it. We'll throw that work. We'll try to do a new work, right? Might be 6 month waste. But if any dishonest results it's published, right? It is a big queries and all then whatever you did a good work. I to remember that one big scientist, right? He has published a very good paper. In the end of career, one ChemCom paper got rejected, right? People, all the people they come and commented how he might be published the earlier work also, like that they made a comment. That's what it will happen. So whatever you did a good work also it will go because of one bad work. So try to don't publish it, leave that, throw that results. Nearly I have thrown many good amount of results like that. And supervisor expect the students to be excited about their work, able to surprise them. Okay. So always you first feel that you have to just to talk with your things. This is what I got the results, whether is it correct or not. You can meet and interact with him. And of course, submitting a thesis, report, or proposal, you should spend enough time on making the abstract question so that it gives a good impressions. Writing the thesis is a professional skill that you should develop during the progress of your work. That's why we are giving 5 progress report. Remember that each and every progress, if you are publishing one paper means end of 5th progress report, your thesis must be ready. You got to concentrate only introductions and the experimental sections. Introductions also it will be available when you are doing the writing a research article, or you must have able to position to write one review articles. Thesis also it's ready. No need to spend good amount of time for writing a thesis. So aim of the PhD is to make a full professional researcher in your field, right? So this professional skill has to helpful how to prepare the class, right? The way of correction of literatures has to helpful how to take a proper notes in your textbooks. That's all. Both the things you can't avoid it. The way of presentations, what you have presented in your progress report might helpful how to deliver the lecture in the classroom. That's all. Right? Both are same. Right? Teaching and the research, it is inseparable components. Both are same. Right? Of course, finally, publications, patents, job, and meeting other professionals and arguing with and impressing them. That is very, very important. I would like to tell one small case studies. Some 2016, we visited Stockholm conference, one international conference. The conference is conducted in cruise only. After the conference over, we came to we board for going for some other countries. That time I met one lady, nearly 75 to 80 years old lady. That lady asked us where you are coming from, and we have told. Then what purpose you are here? We asked and we came for attending the conference. The lady immediately asked the next question is, throughout the day you seated in the conference only, you didn't see any other place like that, she asked. And she told Actually, the conference is conducted in the cruise. We don't have opportunity comes, but of course we have spent a good amount of time in outside also, and that tunnel we show properly in the bill when we are claiming the 2 days TA and DA. In fact, I itself will spend the money from one pocket, but when we are reporting the college, when we are claiming only that days only, on the conference fee days only, we will claim that. And she told that, please don't do this type of mistakes. You comes out from the conference and you got to spend a good amount of time with all the people, because never you are going to birth again, right? You got to see how the word is there, how other people are there, everything you got to see. That might be helpful to them. So meeting other professionals and arguing with them, impressing them, and how not to act. This is also very, very important. Overestimating what is required, right? I did a great job, but end of the day, some other people will come and check your work, means you might be fundamentally wrong, right? So don't over excited. Casually, this is what I'm going to do in my work. Just do it. And the next one is, don't underestimate. Both the things you could avoid, right? I'm doing what I know I'm doing properly. That's what is required for my PhD or what is required for my research work, I'm doing that, right? So don't be overestimate about your work. Don't be underestimate also. And losing contact with your supervisors, that don't do it. Because the next category is, if you read together with your guide, right? Still, if I have any doubt, I used to I used to contact my guide only, or I used to contact my school teacher only, right? Immediately they will read for me and they will explain that what is happening, and they will call immediately within half an hour, or if it is simple, they will call within half an hour, or else the next day morning itself they will send a mail. And not having a proper step positions argument to maintain that, right? Just talk to them, you can maintain that. Taking a new job before completing. Of course, I told you job is very important, but you come to the good professional degree. So try to complete that. When you are getting a job for your previous degree, definitely for this degree, you must be able to get a very good amount of job. Okay. Now, this is a time to discuss how to take a new work for the research work. Of course, 1 hour it's over. I'll try to explain for another 45 minutes. Praveen sir, can I continue?
Sure, sir. Please continue, sir. Please continue.
Yeah. So this is one case studies I would like to explain how to take a new research work for research, right? New work for research, right? Don't forget, ask yourself or guide in the following way before starting your work. Why and what, when and how, where and who did this work, where this work, how they did this work, when it has happened, right? Why it has happened. In a particular field, if you ask these questions, you can able to find out, generate a good amount of work. And of course, if you see that Science Direct, current opinion, and each and every field, they are starting a new journals, current opinion in research work, electrochemistry, current opinion in chemical engineering, current opinion in biotechnology. Those work immediately, it will give a task to you. What kind of work we can start that, right? So current opinion in your work, and don't compare with others. Particularly, see, your competitor might be win might be in the competition. Don't worry about it. You do your work. Discuss with your students. That is very, very important. From undergraduate to doctoral students, if you have the persons, you discuss with them this type of work is going on. So how to carry forward that. And of course, daily magazines. Discuss with your contemporary fellows and friends. thorough literature in the particular field. This thinks it is helpful to take a new work. Of course, we are going to see one case study here, right? You must be know that allotropes of carbon, right? Buckyball, carbon nanotube, graphene, and graphite. In 2004, we got a graphene Nobel Prize. These two gentlemen, they got it. They got an idea using a scotch tape to peel away layers from a pencil lead. They find out graphene has formed and peeled over and over again. They got a graphene. That's what founding, right? The same thing it is reflected, right? By taking a one single layer of graphite, graphene is obtained. That it comes in the one review article. You just see that this is a graphene. Okay. If you arrange the carbon atoms in graphene are bound within a plane by chemical bond into array compromises 6-member rings. Okay. Graphene is closely related to carbon nanotubes and fluorines. If you stacking the layer of graphene, right, like that, if you arrange, you might be get a graphite. And by rolling the graphene, you might be able to position to the carbon nanotube, right? And in that, if you add a 5-member ring, one heterocyclic compound, if you add, you might be get a fluorines, right? This one review articles open-ended, it has given open-ended questions to do a good amount of work in the graphene, carbon nanotubes, and fluorines, right? What I did, of course, this work, we need a good amount of one good research scholar is required to do the work. I got MSc students. I have given what I have given. No, I have taken the same pencil lead. I didn't do a peel away layers and all, right? The same pencil graphite I have taken, and I try to convert the chemical graphite, what we have extracted the pencil graphite, we converted to a graphene. That is reduce. We can't able to reach a graphene and all because in our lab we can't able to reach graphene. So because oxygen contents, you got to reduce all the oxygen when it's removed, you might be able to get the graphene. So that is not quite easy. So we got a reduced graphene oxide. That the work, you see that to prove a synthesis graphene from pencil graphite, confirm the graphene synthesis from comparing the synthesis of commercial graphite. We compare the results, we procure the graphite also, and we compare the results whether there also graphene is formed or not, and we show the one applications. This work it's did by MSc students. They are very poor in academics because they came from the poor family background. This work got published in Polymer Science and Engineering. That reviewer has replied that they proved the synthesis of graphene from the pencil graphite. 2014 itself we did. Of course, later I switch over different type of works, right? The way of understanding how you can able to convert the one work to another work. It is very easy to take the work. So you have to read and see that what is happening. Just this is open-ended questions, right? You can do that using one graphene. You can able to convert. How you are going to convert? You try for chemical methods, whether is it possible or not. How you are going to do that? Of course, you need the proper characteristics data: XRD, XPS, TEM, SEM, FT-RAM, and all the places you have to prove that it has converted one over other. Then if you give a strong command, strong research and discussions, you may get a very good, beautiful papers. Okay. Almost I have explained that. Now I would like to tell some my research experience in MIT. What I did the work in MIT, I want to explain for another some. Of course, year after the slide, it will go very fastly because everything it's a subject, right? So subject, I'm not interested to explain in depth. It is very difficult. Understand that you might be get rasa interest when I'm explaining too much in the subject because we can't explain the subject in the common platform. It is very difficult, but still I want to explain what I did my research experience in MIT, because then only I can come to way to start and how the professional presentations it will be there, everything I can tell. So for that reasons, I have taken this one. Yeah, throughout the studies, if you see, that means I might be used 3 different technique only: cyclic voltammetry and electrochemical impedance spectroscopy and galvanostatic charge discharge, right? Potentiostatic method and galvanostatic method. I am good in electrochemistry. Good in electrochemistry means 2002 to 2005, I worked in Central Electrochemical Research Institute. So I try to meet a good amount of scientists, good amount of same field in the people, interact with them. So that's why I might have able to develop this knowledge and other things. Throughout almost all the papers, if you see, that means, right, in the technique slightly modifications will be there. Chronoamperometry, AC impedance. If you see the cyclic voltammetry means different kind of technique is there. But these 3 techniques only I use for almost all the works. Where I am going to use means energy, renewable energy I am going to use, right? Of course, everyone knew that. Everyone is struggling for, of course, outside means good amount of electricity problem is and fuel you must be knew that we can't, if you, even if you buy a car, you can't able to put a petrol in that. Like that it is happening. So they are searching for what is other alternatives. So that's what I'm also trying in that. Yeah. Particularly in renewable energy, how much amount of money spent in and around the world means it's a huge one, right? And how much amount of renewable power is required means that also a huge one. In fact, last 15 days back also I have seen in Hindu paper, some 4,000 crore invested for lithium ion batteries for Exide batteries. So like that good amount of work is going on in the renewable energy. Okay. Right. Initially, if I see, that means I started from biopolymers, biodegradable polymers for polymer electrolyte work. Okay. This is what my field. 3 different type of electrolyte I used to prepare, right? Solid polymer, gel polymer, and blend polymer electrolyte. And that electrolyte I use for fabrications of the supercap battery, whatever it may be. That's what we have started my beginning of the research work. Of course, I started in my research work, I started biodegradable polymers just for degrading the polyethylene plastics. So my aim of my guide has given this work is this. My task of my PhD work is you can take a biodegradable polymer and blend with the plastics and you see that whether degradable has taken place or not. That's what I started my career, right? Of course, rheology of work also we did blend studies, good amount of calculations I did in physical chemistries, right? If you see, that means Excel sheet, it will go to A to Z and AA to also Z and again triple A Z also it will go like that. It will takes place nearly 52 columns I used to work that times. I don't have a programmer language, don't have a knowledge into developing the programs. I used to do in Excel sheet itself. So that was only I started, but I met with my mentors and other people. They told, no, Selva, if you did this kind of work, in the end of completing your PhD, you got to take your thesis and you got to get a job in, at least in some engineering college. So this work under it may not helpful. You just see for some other work. Then what I did, I tried to use the same biopolymers in the polymer electrolytes. And I try to convert my field to the supercaps and just using the 3 different type of polymer electrolyte I go synthesis and prepared, not a synthesis. That polymer electrolyte I used for the supercap. So this is only in the polymer electrolytes. I didn't touch none of the places electrode material at all. Just I concentrate only polymer electrolytes. Some 3 paper I have taken my thesis work. Using this idea, and I got a grant in DRDO and instrument is came. Then what happened? each and every three polymer, three different work as first student did. Of course, the next student I have given, why can't we concentrate, why we have to concentrate on only electrolyte? We will concentrate on the electrode materials also. So the first student I have given organic conducting polymers for the electrode work. So the student has to synthesis uh, conducting polymer, and he has to see that whether the conducting polymer has a promising ability to fabricate the batteries or supercaps. Next, so the next students, what happened? Of course, this is what it goes. The student, both the student, they completed. So the next students, what I did, okay, in addition to this, the same electrode material will take, will mix with the different carbons. So what is happening? And we have synthesis a different type of carbons also, like activated carbons. Everything activated carbons we have extracted from the precursor. You can see that in right hand side. From that we have extracted all the things, and we have nearly achieved 1400 meters squared per gram. So that student also completed the work, and I had to conduct the viva voce for the third student, so activated carbon. And the second one we have synthesis carbon nanofibers also, and third one graphene also we have synthesis. Now because carbon materials also we have synthesis, and electrode materials conducting polymers we comes out, then we shifted to the metal oxide and metal sulfide. That metal oxide and metal sulfide we have used for, again, two different applications. It's not only supercap, whether this metal oxide and metal sulfide has a ability to produce, whether it acts as a good catalyst, electrocatalyst for hydrogen evolution reaction for fuel cell. That also we have tried. So good amount of paper everywhere, some 10 paper the student has to publish, right? That's why I have the position to talk these things, right? What I have, I can able to explain each and my experience, right? So that's in that also we have position to publish some 10 good papers, right? And now the presently we are seeing the electrode material for MXC, right? So it is a 2D nanomaterial and inorganic material. When the speaker, when the intro is introduced about me, right? Normally people will concentrate only physical chemistry, or they may not concentrate on some other chemistry. They will talk only physical chemistry. But I again voluntarily one faculty got treated and requested my head of the department. I went and take inorganic chemistry because to do a good amount of work here also, right? That's why allotting a different subject, getting a new subject, it is opportunity to do a new work. Because if you read fundamentals and the concept only, when the student coming and asking how to explain these things, this material, so you have to explain that. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Now, of course, we have started the MXin also. MXin synthesis, it's very, very difficult. So we have procured that, and we etched the aluminum and vanadium carbide we use for different electrode materials, and that work we went. And the next one is composites. Not only for the electrode material, this conducting polymer we have mixed with the different carbon, or this metal oxide and metal sulfate we have mixed with this different carbon. That composites, right? You see that look like a bullet. So the conducting that ion, it's moving in the carbon nanotube continuously. The carbon nanotube, multi-layer depositions of first SS substrate will take, and the carbon nanotube we will coat. In that, using three different dopant conducting polymer we used to deposit, so that it acts as a good composites. The same thing, carbon nanotube or activated carbon, metal oxide and metal sulfate we have coated, deposited or pasted. That applications also we did, and hydrogen evolution reactions. The idea behind that these things, because electrocatalysis up to now we are using platinums, right? The cost of platinum, you might be knew that. In fact, some 5 ml of chloroplatinic acid we have purchased. Not I am not purchased. 25,000. Remember that 25,000 is very difficult to get. Of course, we might be have a good experience here, right? One of my friend only helped in from CSR lab. He has given, he has spent some 2 ml. Remaining 3 mls we got it. That using that we are doing some photocathode materials. Uh, But the idea behind this, we want to avoid the platinum. So instead of that, we will take a carbon support and we'll add a metal oxide and metal sulfide and we'll make us a good electrocatalyst. And we did some good amount of hydrogen evolution reactions also. And we'll find out what type of mechanism. Everywhere scientifically we will prove what type of mechanism it's happening. If it is a composites, how the conductivity of the material this much has increased, what type of mechanisms has taken place, and very well will give a strong report. And remember that if the reviewer comments comes means 8 reviewer means each and reviewer will properly ask all the questions. Nearly 50 to 65 pages also we are answering. Right? If you want, you can come and meet me. I'll show that. Right? That much answer we have to able to, and we have to convince that. Then only paper will get accepted. Right? And of course, this work it's supported by MAGE. They have given intramural research grant. When using the third student only, I am there in my native place. That third student is helped to submit the grant. I submitted by mail only. A signature also I sent by mail only. He has submitted, and MAGE intramural research grant I got in nearly 6 lakhs. So that time, luckily, I got one student without stipend, he has joined. So I have given that work. So dye-sensitized solar cell he have given because he is very good in organic chemistry. So we are synthesizing photoanode, photocathode, electrolyte. The dye molecules we are not synthesizing. Since he is good in organic chemistry, I given the work, you can synthesize a good amount of dye. So normally you require the conjugations in the molecule. If you get a conjugations, you may get a good amount of conductivity. That might be helpful to use the dye for that. So you can able to synthesize a good amount of dye, like donor and acceptor concept. That it is helpful to, it might be act as a good electron rich properties and good ore transporting properties. Nearly we have published some 15 impact factor review articles in sustainable renewable energy. Last month only it got accepted. If you see seen in my Google Scholar or my Scopus or Pure, you can to know that. So the work already I have assigned that whatever before sanctioning I got assigned that, but still I can take a one more student. I have the opportunity to take one more student because of that intramural grant. So I am not interested to give that work dye-sensitized solar cell. The presently newly joined student also might be good in because he is a class topper. And like the same way I sit and read together, I understand that student was very good. We can't give any simple work. They might be complete within 1 year. So they got to spend for some good amount of time, 4 to 5 years. And they should be in the lab. Then only they may get a good amount of experience. They will guide remaining after completing the PhD. They might have a person to guide another 30 students. Right. So that's why if you guide one student properly, it might always helpful to for guide a good amount of students. Right. You are not stopping in that. It keep on continuing in that only. Right. So the next student what I given is, of course we have integrated. Now we have the chance to get, of course, my friend in Magesh also helped. I have given the name, he has helped to fabricate the solar cell. I don't have any experience to fabricate the solar cell. So he is a co-PA in the intramural grant also. So he has helped out to fabricate. And now we have the good position to fabricate the solar cell. Not only in that, we are positioned to integrate with supercapacitor means. So because solar cell don't have a ability to capture the energy, it has to store with the battery and other things. So that means why can't we in the same plate, one side we'll fabricate the dye-sensitized solar cell, one side we'll fabricate the supercap. Because it's simple. Graphene, again, we are synthesizing. Common platform, we are going to take electrolyte, and dye only we are going to add, so that it acts as a dye-sensitized solar cell and supercap. And this work also published in Journal of Solid State Electrochemistry, right? And a student has able to do individually some good amount of work. He nearly has synthesized some 6 new compounds, and all the compounds are showing a promising ability in dye-sensitized solar cell and integrate with the supercapacitor. So since I given that work, I can't able to give this work again. So what I did, I given a new work to another student, perovskite material. So it is a promising material. You just see that nearly 5,000 articles in a year in the perovskite material, we can able to generate that. So that means of course, college also it's like a good amount of the citations and good amount of manuscript has to be published. But our bad time, we have started to fabricate the perovskite solar cell. We need a grow box and a solar cell simulator. Both are in working conditions, but lockdown happened. 2020, you might be new that. That time we got a cylinder, lockdown happened. 2 years we can't able to continue the work. But 2 years, particularly if the students don't have a fellowship, they can't able to do the work because it is very, very tedious. This work is highly instability materials. And once you synthesis, immediately go to characteristics. Characteristics means contact angle measurement, XPS, TEM, photoluminance, right? Eye resolution tunneling electron microscopy, and XRD, GX, XX, all the eye sophisticated characteristics techniques is required. You must be available. Very few techniques is available in our institute, right? So if the student don't have a fellowship, it's very, very difficult to continue. They won't do that. In fact, the student came and scolded me also directly. Why you have given this kind of work? I told, right? Both are sit together, we have discussed, and we went and checked in the MIT, all the opportunities there. Thereafter only we have given this proposal. But in between it has happened. What I'll do that? But later we tried to find out after, because once we came back, Dropbox is not working, right? Solar simulator is not working. But luckily, our new director has helped like anything. Now he has worked to rectify the grow box also. He has helped to rectify the solar simulator also. So again, the rhythm of the work has started. And the student, because everything it is there in and house only. You remember that we can able to fabricate a perovskite solar cell in MIT itself. Okay. So, solar simulator also started to work and grow box also started to work, and the students enthusiastically once he has to, and in the meantime I contacted my friends. You have to help only for TM regarding the authorship, no need to worry, I'll give, because everyone has to be mutually understanding, then only the work has to be carried forward. So I started the work, and nearly we may take because what I given in the intramural grant, dye-sensitized solar cell, since the new student joined, I have given to other student, I give a new work only. I'm not given the same work, right? The problem, research problem is, its degradations might take place methyl ammonium red iodide, and it's highly instability material. But still the efficiency, if you see that, means the perovskite efficiency, you see that it may comes very high. Whereas dye-sensitized solar cell 3 to 4 efficiency means 11% it will come. So that means this perovskite become a stable, and if you tantalum, that is if you combine hybrid with the silica or a thin film, your efficiency might be 40 to 50%. That's why people try to work in the tantalum solar cell. So we started the perovskite solar cell. Now we are look up for to fabricate the tantalum solar cell with the help of thin film and silica, right? So this is what, using doping and everything, we are improving, and we are reducing the band gap, and we are increasing the stability of the material. And this is what fabrications of the tantalum solar cell. So using that student, I converted to the next category. That is next, my scope of the research, still I am keep on improving that, right? I am not sticking in only one field. In that, what is the other opportunity will comes, that I am seeing that, right? I have started the solar perovskite only, but in addition to this, next I am converting to the next level. Okay, we'll go for the tantalum. We will try to fabricate, and if suppose some good student join, we'll give this work, tantalum solar cell. Of course, I have submitted the proposal in SERB also. Getting grant or not doesn't matter. Always we got to try. In fact, this work I talked to Sadish Rao sir also. We have discussed, and the outcome of the work, outcome of the proposal, everything is completed, and I have submitted SERB grant also. We'll see what is happening. And in the meantime, some part-time student has joined to me. And okay, because part-time students, you remember that they have to take a teaching workload. in addition to this, they have to work research also. It is not so easy. So I can't give this type of material to work them. So I have very, very limited opportunity to give the materials. So that means easiest way of synthesis, right? Let them take a one small conducting polymers, let them work in the thermoelectrics. And of course, that both the students are very good in printing. They are faculty, right? Nearly 10 to 14 years experience in the printing technology. So they can able to grasp that what I told, what I convey the message, everything they grasp it. And we have able to fabricate the thermoelectric generator in MIT because they are good in printings. They can able to design it and they itself will do that, will fabricate the thermoelectric generators and other things. And this is what the mechanisms and this type of material. You see that in that I have given simple synthesis of polyaniline and polyphenol. One student I have given polyaniline, one student I have given polyphenol, and they might be taken one simple metal oxide, right? Using that, they are going to fabricate. In fact, we have published the paper in Energy, and one more paper got accepted in Journal of Alloys and Compounds. Simple material only. The way of approaching how you are taking the data only, it's matter, right? That's what I did, and they are so very happy in that because they remember that after 14 years of teaching, when they are coming to the research field, it is not so easy to come to the track. They are now they are working day and night, do the research work. Whenever I am going to the lab, they are ready to discuss with me. Okay. So this is what how to select the material for thermoelectrics, and I have given some how in the metal how to select and insulator how to select, semiconductor how to select. This and all we have taken from the review articles. We have discussed, I and students we have discussed and put in this slide. Okay, a good amount of applications it is involved here also. And the next categories now, of course, director also everyone is interested to go for the lithium ion cell. So that means high, if you synthesis high capacity cathode materials, you have the good amount of money also. Because if you show that high capacity material, there are three type of material they are synthesizing: lithium ion phosphate and lithium Mn2O4 and lithium cobalt oxide and lithium MnO2. You see that the respective current density, theoretical and practical, I have given where the uses is electric scooter what they are using and a car what they are using, everything I have given. So now the presently my first student, right, he did hard work and again he joined the faculty in MIT itself. And I and him, we are start doing this new work. And newly one more student joined and we have given this work to him. You concentrate on to synthesis high capacity cathode material for lithium ions. Okay. And way to start up. This also it is supported by MAGE just for 50,000. Remember that we don't have money to buy copper sulfate that time, but MAGE is supported for 50,000, right? For in the form of seed money. That it one good student, some three good BTech students are joined, right? I started my career to fabricate the supercapacitor 2002, right? Everything I have fabricated stainless steel, but these students, they have fabricated in PET substrate. Some 4 different products we have able to develop. One is flexible micro humidity. We have fabricate the humidity sensor, right? Again, polyaniline graphite only, simple material only, but we can able to give a device. Now 4 products in our market, we are going to file our startup company also in incubator, bio incubator in the market, right? So this is the first device, flexible micro humidity sensor we have fabricated, and it is helpful to check the humidity in and around surrounding. Now we have developed the sensor only. I told the students using that microcontroller, you can make as a device, and if you bring the device, it has to show what is the humidity. So that also they are trying, and they also got succeeded that we are going to commercialize this one. And the next one is respiration monitoring. That is breath sensor. What will do that? The same humidity sensor, if you keep it in a N95 mask, whether the patient, if the breathing, it is very fastly they are breathing. The resistance of that, if you connect it to the any oscilloscope, the resistance of the breath will comes very high. Using that, the breathing of the patients may not be proper. We can came to know that. Of course, this is good amount of rise since it's a medical device. Good amount of rises and other problem is that also we are looking into that. In addition to this, whatever I fabricated in stainless steel, now they have fabricated the super cap in PET substrate itself and flexible substrate he has fabricated because student good in engineering, right? Both the three students are very good in engineering. I'm good in chemistry and the faculty is good in flexible device fabrications. So all of them jointly together and we got succeed to develop this all the four products, right? So this flexible micro super cap, it is helpful to hybrid with your lithium ion batteries. Imagine that, right? So good amount of energy initially if it comes from the super cap, your lithium ion battery will save and it might be run for longer time. Of course, the problem is here, we can't able to run the device for more than 15 days. We have to change for the flexible substrate, PET substrate to flexible standard seed substrate or anything else we have to do. So if any students, good student join, I have to give this work only. And of course, not only that, we are trying for thermoelectric generator like that. Also, we are fabricating gas sensor, we are fabricating and a temperature sensor, strain sensor, nearly 4 to 5 products we are available, right? And everything we are doing now, everything we did in screen printing. Next student join, so that student I given all the 5 device, you try to fabricate in the inkjet printing. So that means in a time you can able to develop some 100 printouts for all the device. That's why we are trying for inkjet. In addition to this, we are concentrating 3D models also for all the device to fabricate that. And this will go for the one small micro supercapacitor fabrications, how they did that video I have. Nearly it might take 2 minutes only. Just please go through that. Of course, no audio will be there. Just fabrications only. And the presentation it comes, the audio I'll show you. Professional presentation when it comes. See that they are making the device, anode and cathode. First they are making the electrodes only. So they check the contact once they fabricated the electrode. Now you see that they will add a electrolyte. How they are going to add a electrolyte, you see that. Yeah, contact is coming or not, they will check. They will use a button to make a contact in the electrodes. Otherwise, you can't connect the crocodile clips. So they are adding electrolyte. Okay. They are removing over the substrate, whatever it is. Now they are adding the electrolyte to the filter paper. Now they will sandwich, just see that. So both are side they have to take a lead. That's why again so it became a flexible substrate, and everything they did in a PET substrate only. So now they are going to keep the button in both the side. Then only the circuit will complete. Yeah, that's what in the okay. Yeah, these are the team to develop all the products. So he's a first year final year BTech student, Mr. Achinya Datta and Aditya Nirmala, and faculty in Ramakrishna Nayak in printer department. And of course, so you see that all are in different field. They are technologically strong. One person in printed and flexible. He is a good strong in the printed flexible devices, and I am good in chemistry. So all together we work and we got succeeded. And of course, once again, this professional presentations. This I got to keep it computer. Again, I'll share once again. Oh. Yeah. One second, it's.
My name is Achintya Datta, and I'm Datta, and I will be presenting my undergraduate thesis work titled Sensitivity Tuned Polyaniline Graphite Nanoparticle Based Humidity Sensor Powered by a Copper Graphite Microsupercapacitor with PVA-PVP Polymer Electrolyte. This work resulted in a paper which was published in the journal Materials Letters, a paper which is currently under review in the Journal of Measurement, along with this one Indian patent which was filed in the area of flexible electronics and supercapacitors. Along with this, there are two more journal manuscripts currently under preparation as a continuation of this work. The goal of this work was to develop a completely flexible batteryless system with a flexible sensor powered by a supercapacitor. So the first part of the project dealt with the fabrication of a 2D flexible supercapacitor on a PET substrate. the method of screen printing was used. And as it can be seen from this image, the size of the device was very close to a 1 rupee coin. One of the major novelties and innovations which we brought about in this work was the deposition of the electrolyte. Conventional methods such as drop casting have several disadvantages, which were overcome by our novel method of depositing using a fibrous porous structure, which essentially aided the storing of charge in the electrolyte, thus allowing the device to have high performance even in such a small size or in such a small area. The second part of the project dealt with the fabrication of a flexible humidity sensor based on a novel nanocomposite based on polyaniline and graphite, which is a conductive polymer and carbon composite. Now, as it can be seen from the graph shown here, the sensor showed exceptionally good performance as well as sensitivity in a wide relative humidity range. The method of saturated salts was used to develop different environments with different relative humidities, which was used to characterize the sensors. When integrating such a sensor with a power source, it is crucial that they have a very low resistance, which was achieved by a geometric optimization method where we varied the inter-electrode distances as well as the number of electrodes in order to achieve exceptionally low resistance. Finally, the applications of such a system are shown on this slide. The first application is a breathing pattern analyzer where the sensors can actually map the breath of a person, which can then be used to detect anomalies and diseases. This sensor can be integrated into an N95 mask as it is completely non-toxic and safe for humans. It can also be used for a traditional environment monitoring application where it can detect the relative humidity values in a room or in a small environment. Finally, the application of contactless gesture control was also developed, where as you can see here, the finger is not touching the sensor. But the sensor can still detect the motion of the finger and even map the gestures which are done because it is so sensitive that it can actually detect the humidity moisture on the finger of a person. And as you can see, all these sensors are completely battery-less as they are powered by the supercapacitor. Hence, we developed a completely battery-less supercapacitor sensor system. This was the output of my undergraduate thesis. Thank you.
Yeah. So these are the research students. They are working with me. And first student got completed and second student also completed. And third students, colleagues came, we are working and shortly we may conduct the viva-based examinations. And Ramakrishna Naik, Dhiraj Maitri and Vinod Kamath and these students. And of course, recently one more student joined and we are trying for inkjet printing. Okay. And these are mentors, of course, my school teachers. And initially, I good in pond with Dr. N.G. Ranganathan in Central Electrochemical Research Institute. Good amount of mathematics we used to work out, and good in mathematics, many kind of work we did, and some of them are not able to publish. And of course, my guide. And a good amount of friends, not only Ganesh, there are good amount of friends are there for discussing for each and every works. And summary, effective education is leading to behavior change, and research is creating a new knowledge. And of course, life is not a race, it is a journey. Thanks for your valuable observations and patience. Yeah. So I have completed my presentations. If you have any queries.
Thank you, sir. Can we go for question and answer session, sir?
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I request our participants if they have any queries or comments to make here. Please go ahead. So no queries. Yes. Dr. Selvakumar, sir, actually, in one of the slide, I was seeing that like you, of course, you have presented whole things in very like very explanative manner. So in one of the slides, you have mentioned that top 10 challenges and also opportunities in bracket you have given. There you have mentioned I think democracy. You have mentioned democracy also. Like if you could just talk about that. So I know this is you have presented a whole lot of things like which are more related to science and many scientific things.
Yeah.
But since I come from social science background, I would like to like get details from that also.
That means what you are talking about this slide?
No, sir. In one of the slide, you have listed it like
This one,
here it is. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have also,
So,
in ninth, you have also mentioned that democracy as top 10 problems and also opportunities.
Yeah. Actually, normally we can't keep it as a problem. Like that, the problems means we could always think it is opportunity to work, right? Whatever the problems it is, how we can try to rectify that. So you see that the present scenario, if you see that global warming, and in fact, when I was in childhood days, if you see that means the temperature might be 100 to 101. Now that temperature 9 o'clock itself we are reaching. So that much amount of heat is coming. So what is the other resolutions we are going to do that? And you can try to find out for solutions for that. Of course, global warming, everyone we can came to know that how we are going to avoid that, right? So that's what it is. Not only that's why I have listed some 10 problems: energy, water, food, environment, poverty, terrorism and war, disease, education, democracy, populations. It will be there, right? Throughout the world, it will be there in and around, right? How? Because if I am go to address good amount in that, it became a political point of view. I am not interested to address those things. These are the problems is that how we can try to succeed in that, how we can try to achieve and how we can try to overcome these problems. That if you find out, you might be get a good amount of solutions for that. Yeah, am I correct?
Yes, sir. I like, yeah, actually, like, when you mention democracy there, democracy is like more of like doing with the like how the governance is there. Yeah, maybe it involves so many other things. I don't think the case is the similar even in many of the autocratic countries also.
Yeah,
It is just not with the country where democracy is there.
yeah.
Like yeah, yes, sir. Yes. Yeah, I think it goes more with uh, how to say, like our money based or our business based philosophy of running the state, or
Yeah,
socialist based like state,
yeah,
or
yeah.
yeah, right,
Like
sir?
right only, but that's what that we can't open it, no, right? Money based and other things.
Mhm.
That's why I keep it mind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Uh, I think there are no queries from any participants that because you have explained it very well, and like using your own examples and giving your own case studies and all. Like even I being in early career, I also face the same things. Uh, so in that regard, I would like to thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation, and I would like to thank you on behalf of Directorate of Research also, and our director and deputy directors. Thank you so much, sir. And
Yeah,
also from our participant side, I thank you, sir.
yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
So
Thank
can
you.
I leave?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.